Welcome to City Show Radio. Pat O'Melia here as always in a special Thursday edition because the Tuesday edition we had to cancel. I'm coming down County Road here in Secaucus, coming to the studio. And County Road needs to be paved, but there's a lot of work going on. They've been doing a lot of construction. They've been doing some infrastructure work there. I got to get with Craig Guy when they finish it, when it's done and haven't paved that. It's almost impossible not to hit potholes there or repaired potholes. I hit a pothole. I keep going, and when I got up to Manhattan Avenue there, I'm making the left to go up the hill. When I came to a stop, my right rear wheel locks up. And I didn't know if we dislodged a brake shoe, whatever it is. I can't move it. AAA comes in. I think it was King's Towing. I got to check that. The tow company was great. Yeah, if you don't have AAA, you're kidding yourself. Yeah, I got myself and my two daughters on there. I think I'm paying like $400 a year. But between me and my two daughters, we're ahead of the game. They came, towed it. I actually dragged it up by the White Manor at this point. They towed it. We got over to Juan's shop over on 1520 Patterson Plank Road in North Bergen. And it looks like what happened when I guess it could have been a coincidence, but the brake cylinder locked up in a closed position, and that applied the brakes. But Juan's got it for that matter. During commercial, I got to text Juan and see if it'd be nice enough to run my car down to the studio here. But that's why we didn't have a show last week. So I'm doing a show today, Thursday edition. I know next week we got James Shea coming in with the Public Safety Department. They're going to be doing their monthly town halls. He'll be doing it at 3 o'clock. And you can call. You have questions for James Shea, that sort of thing. It's all toll-free. Toll-free here, 855-999-0799. Got a lot going on. You got the things at the Delaney Center. Ras Baraka was in court this morning. Steve Fulop, the mayor of Jersey City, also a candidate for governor, was on 101.5 with Eric Scott this morning. Did a good job in the interview. I texted him to give me a shout-out. He didn't give me a shout-out. We're going to talk about that. We'll talk about the Delaney. We'll talk about all the crazy stuff that went on there. I'm going to call it down the middle. What happened at Delaney Center. I think some people will get arrest warrants. We're going to talk about the commercials that the candidates have been using. This new theater, Regal Cinemas in Secaucus, they took over Kerostopes. We're going to talk about that. Really let this place turn into a dump. But the Thunderbolts were good. We're going to talk about all that when I get back. We're going to break for commercial. Again, you're listening to The City Show. I'll be right back.
Comprehensive healthcare is here, here, and here. RWJ Barnabas Health is healing, enhancing, and investing in Hudson County with its two newest locations, Hoboken and Exchange Place. Within walking distance or accessible by mass transit, our locations combine convenience with primary and specialty care, including cardiology, women's health, orthopedics, cancer care, and more. Let's be healthy together.
Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, Jersey City. Hudson County's only monument maker, serving all faiths and cemeteries. Design, studio, and large inventory on site. Cemetery inscriptions and custom orders welcome. Burns Brothers Memorials, Monuments, and Markers, 787 Tunley Avenue, just south of Secaucus Road. Craftsmanship that will last for all eternity. Burns Brothers, Jersey City, Albert H. Hopper, North Arlington. Visit us on the net.
We're back. City Show Radio. Pat O'Melia here. You're not here. I am here on GGR. Don't forget to download the app. For that matter, I think on the tweets I've been doing, you have the new GGR that you scan it, and also you can download, I think, the options for Twitter or Twitter X, Instagram, Siri, Alexa. There's a lot of formats that you can get GGR on. Yeah, we're building this radio show. Just had the MUA on. We had NJCU in here last week or so. We got a bunch of new programming coming in. For that matter, trying to con one of my old studio guys into doing a video game show. John's working the board right now here. But he was just up in Boston. It's a town I never went to. I would like to go to Boston. It's an old town. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see how they buried the highway. I'd like to see that, what they called the Big Dig. It took like 15 years for them to do it. Wouldn't mind seeing Fenway Park. I think Fenway might be the oldest park in operation now. I think it's older than Wrigley Field. I think. Well, getting back, the Delaney Center. I'm sure you've seen all the footage by now where Bonnie Watson, Rob Menendez, and everybody calls the Redcoat Lady, kind Congressman MacGyver, I believe his name is. They got involved with the ICE agents there. We got to see the footage from the CCTV. There's cameras all around the Delaney Center. So if they bum rush, supposedly there was a prisoner transport van coming through the gate. They opened the gate for the van, and the Congress people all ran in there. Ras Baraka is not there at that point, by the way. He was there in the morning. And the mayor of Newark himself, the mayor of the largest city in the state, I think population-wise, if we had a better census, would be Jersey City, but Newark is it. He pops up there in the morning with the violation notice, allegedly over the CO, the Certificate of Occupancy. Now, yes, all the mayors delivered those violation notices themselves. I'm sure Steve Fulop, before he goes to City Hall every morning, drops off some violation notices somewhere. Of course not. This was all a photo op deal here. Ras Baraka, I think he's a good mayor in Newark. He probably had an appointment with the 3 Congress people in the morning to meet him, and knowing politicians, those 3 were late. So Russ was there by himself, and he goes, I think I'll drop this violation notice off myself. He drops it off. Off he went. And he probably made a phone call and said, you guys weren't there. We'll be there at 11 o'clock or whatever time they told him. And his Congress people showed up, and commotion started. Then Ras Baraka showed up, and he got involved in it. And from what I could tell, now supposedly the congressional reps were there to do an oversight inspection. And they're allowed to do that. But I don't think you're allowed just to pop up at the gate and say, open the gate, we're here to check out. There's protocols that have to be followed. It is basically a federal prison, even though it's privately operated. And supposedly they were inside the security shack waiting for whatever clearances have to be done. You just can't walk to the county jail. A commissioner couldn't just walk to the county jail in Hudson County, a Hudson County commissioner, and go to the Hudson County jail and just pop up and say, I want to walk around and look. There are protocols that have to be followed. And for whatever reason, they weren't following these protocols. Rushing the gate is not a protocol. And for whatever happened when, we only seen the activity when it started at the gate. There were other protesters there. And off it went. They probably did bum rush the gate. Again, we haven't seen the CTV footage from the Delaney Center. But there's all sorts of commotion. There's yelling and screaming and peaceful pushing. You're at basically a federal prison. So yes, the ICE agents, or wardens, whatever you want to call these people who are working at the jail, correctional officers, ICE agents, they got to protect the facility. You can't have chaos outside of federal prison or in a county prison, no matter what prison it is. And they're pushing and shoving and yelling. It's not a good look for congressional people. Now, I will say, out of the 3, Bonnie Watson seemed to be the most level-headed of the group. Now, she's probably I think Bonnie's 85 years old. Pretty good shape for 85 years old, by the way. She seems the most level-headed of the 3 congressmen. Now, Rob Menendez, a friend of mine, known Rob a long time, been in the studio many, many times. For that matter, I was texting Rob saying, you want me to start a GoFundMe to get you bail money for when they lock your butt up. He was pretty cool until the end. I think he got caught up in the mob mentality that was going on. And you just see him yelling and his fingers are going. But the red coat lady, she should be on with the Giants. She should play for them. She's banging into people, pushing people. She's going to have a problem. I don't care how she wants to spin this. She's got a problem. You're actually pushing ICE agents. You're pushing them around up against fences and all. I mean, she was a force of nature there. I said, we could get her on the Giants. We could use that kind of that push on the line. Rob may have a problem. We'll see what the ICE people do. I know the congressional hearings. It really bothers you too with this congressional thing. Listen, Trump is going to be the president for the next 3 3/4 years. Why don't we just start doing the work of the government? What is the law? Now, they're talking about due process. Boy, now they give a whole list of the inmates there. They're MS-13. There's killers, rapers. And there's a couple in there that shouldn't be there. Maybe their only crime is being undocumented. But, that's the original sin. You're undocumented. You cross over. You're breaking the law. And that's funny. When you look at the border now, they just showed that, I don't know if it was CNN or it was Fox. They were showing last year at the border where there were thousands of people crossing the water. And they showed today there's nobody there. It's completely empty. If you break the law, you have to do the time, right? What was the old thing with the Beretta? Don't do the crime if you can't do the time. And they're saying about due process. I understand there is a due process in these prisons. But when you didn't do due process when you snuck in, I don't know if you're entitled to due process when you're here. But that's for smarter people than me. And as far as the immigration laws that we have, it isn't under Trump. For that matter, Obama deported more people than Trump probably ever will. Trump looks like the administration is concentrating on the gangbangers, the rapists, the murderers, as they should, by the way. You know, even if I was to talk to an undocumented person who say, we'd rather not have the gangbangers, the rapists, and the murderers here. But, you know, the people who just came here to try to find a better life, it's unfortunate, but they get caught up with this. But for the last, probably go on more than I was going to say, 10 years, 20 years, the Democrats who are crying about this now, for that matter, I think there was something with South Africa that the administration brought in 54 South Africans, and the Democrats are crying, oh, you'll let these 54 come in, and, but they were going to be murdered because there's a bunch of that going on in South Africa right now. You let them in, but now you're having a problem with the people from Mexico, Venezuela, or wherever. Well, actually, China. Oddly enough, China was coming in through the Mexico border. The Democrats, for years, could have changed this. Biden could have changed this if his brain was working. There was a war. They had the presidency. They had the Senate. They had the Congress. If they wanted to effing do something about the immigration policies we have that have been on the books for God knows how long, they could have done it. But you know what? They did nothing. And now you got an administration that is going to enforce the laws. These laws are on our books. And you just can't decide, I'm going to enforce this law, we're not going to enforce that law. We are a country of laws. And once you don't enforce one, it's hard to enforce them all. So you have to enforce these things. Now, do I have to treat a guy or a woman that her only crime is she's undocumented? Do I have to treat him like a rapist or a murderer? Probably not. But when you're catching them all in the same net, and if you're caught up with a bunch of gangbangers, you got a problem. If you're just here, you're just undocumented, but you're hanging out with gangbangers, yeah, you're guilt by association there. But for all the arguments and how the illegal and undocumented immigrants are being treated, keep in mind, they could have changed that. They could have changed it 2 years ago if they wanted to. But no, we didn't do any of that. Them didn't do anything. They'll sit there and bitch about it, but they did nothing. It's like the assault weapons. We're at a problem with assault weapons. Yes, do we need everybody to have an AK-47 at home? Probably not. You know, you want to have a Browning 9mm or a shotgun for home defense? I don't have a problem with that. But are the assault weapons banned for civilian use? No. Why not? Well, the Democrats bitch about it all the time. Did they change anything when they were in control of the presidency, the Senate, and the Congress? Guess what? No. So that's one of the reasons the Democrats are on the ledge of falling off and being completely forgotten. And maybe a rise of the Whigs will come back because they basically did nothing. They just super woke. And that's where we got into. They got so friggin' woke that the country turned against them. Democrats turned against them. They were so woke, Trump looked attractive to people. Said, oh, Trump guy, where you didn't like before, you're looking pretty damn good to me now. Because there's so much of this woke and so much of the blatant lying. And you see it, again, you see it in the congressional hearings. Just do the job of the people. When the campaign is done, that's the job. Don't we have to keep fighting Democrat, Republicans? It's like the Hatfields and McCoys every day. That we don't need. We don't need a situation where it's Israel and Iran every day. Once the election's done, job of the people. And that seems to get lost in Washington. And that's why it gets stymied here. But I think what happened here with the Democrats, and I think that I'll get into this when we come back from break, I think what's happening in Washington could play a big role in what happens here in Jersey with the governor's race. Because the wokeness of the Democrats, it's still playing. And it's like they only have one book. You know, this plan didn't work. There's no plan B or C or D, whatever the hell they need. They're still going with the same plan. All right, let's break for commercial. You're listening to The City Show here on GGR. I'll be right back.
Newport, the luxury waterfront community on the Hudson River, offers a quality of life you deserve in one of our many high-rise towers. With amenities such as the on-site Newport Path, light rail, Newport Town Square, 3 playgrounds, dog run, upscale restaurants, retail giants like Kohl's, JCPenney, Macy's, and Target. Morton Williams and Acme Supermarket are just outside your front door. A health and fitness center, skating rink, and medical facilities are also on site. Enjoy the New York skyline from our waterfront and various parks. Manhattan is just one pass stop away, or quick ride through the Holland Tunnel. Nursery and private elementary schools all on site. 12-screen movie theater at the Newport Center Mall. Looking to visit? Stay at the Westin or Marriott Hotel. For more information, visit us at newportnj.com. Make lasting memories to cherish forever. It's incredible. It's you, Newport. Live like you want.
We're back. Pat O'Melia here on the City Show Radio on GGR. Don't forget, download the app. Tell your friends. Download the app. We're trying to build up this network. Like I said, we're going to have town hall. The MUA just had their town hall here. They'll be doing once a month. The public safety is coming in Wednesday. I still got to get my kids doing this. We have a medical radio show coming up, but I'm not going to wait much longer for the powers that be with the medical show. I'll just go and get it going on my own. There's a lot of things cooking here, and I'm looking for people who want to be on radio. As long as it's a good topic, cars, like with John with the video games, D&D, it's the whole world of entertainment here on radio, and there are people that'll listen to it. But getting back to the Delaney Center. Now, Ras Baraka was in court this morning. I think he got a court date now in July. And by then, I'm sure the CCTV footage from the Delaney Center will come out, so you'll see exactly what happened there. There's cameras all over the place. The body cam footage, first of all, who's wearing the body cams there? Is that from the ICE agents? I don't think so. But, the fixed cameras will show everything went on there. But people are saying, well, maybe Ras Baraka may get a bump in the numbers. Well, there's been a couple of polls since there was no bump in the numbers. And again, I don't know, getting locked up is a good boost for your political possibilities, but who knows how things are seen these days. He got locked up. Let's vote for him. We voted for Trump. We had 34 felonies on him. But it was all political over there. That's what they say. Oh, political. For that matter, he may be right. Because now you got Letitia James, who brought these freaking suits. I didn't even understand what that case was, where supposedly Trump inflated the value of his properties, but the banks did their due diligence. They lent money on it. If I'm selling my car, for that matter, I just got a call today at my kid's house in Jersey City. And they want to know if I'd be interested in an offer. I said, listen, give me $1.75 million in cash. I'll tell you how property is in Jersey City. The guy's like, oh, does that all be? And I'm kidding. I'm not kidding you. The guy just said, does it have to all be in cash? Can you take a check? No, all cash. But it's not my house anymore. It's the kids. So we gave it to the kids. Gina and Evelyn have it, and I talked to them to buying property elsewhere. For that matter, we're looking to get another piece of property for those guys. I try to impart to my daughters the mistakes I made. Man, I should have got involved in property when I was young and dumb, but I was young and dumb. Should I bought some properties in Jersey City in the 80s? Yes, I should have bought some property in Jersey City in the 80s. Seaside Heights. The kids bought a house, 2-family house in Seaside Heights for investment. 2-family, 2-car garage, 5,000 square feet of land. I think it was $250. Can't touch a place for less than $1 million now. And it's just incredible what happened here with property values, which makes it very difficult. I know the candidates are talking about trying to bring down the cost of homes for people starting out. I don't know how you do it. You're going to deflate the value of my home, but that's one of the things I want to get Mayor Fulop. I want to speak to some of these candidates. We got the June primary coming up on how to make things more affordable without hurting people. The biggest thing is property taxes, and of course, the biggest thing affecting property taxes is the school, and the school tax is ridiculous. But I'm jumping around here. So Russ is he's going to be in jail. Now he's going to be in court in July. I don't know what's going to happen with McIver there, the red coat lady, and Rob Menendez. But Probably something will happen on a congressional level. They might be censored there. I don't know if they're going to lock any of these people up, put them in jail or anything like that. But when I was talking before about the woke stuff, I could see that affecting the race here for governor, where, again, let's go back to Mayor Fulop. Mayor Fulop and I have known each other for about 22, 23 years. We've been on the same side of issues. We've been on the other side of the issue. Basically, we're on the other side of the table many times. I don't agree with everything he thinks is right. And the same thing, I've been married to my wife 47 years. I don't agree with her all the time. The Democrats have to come up with a new plan. I've just seen that there was a debate they did on CBS where they got these people too close sitting in chairs. Right on the podiums. I do debates. I use podiums. Ras Baraka and Gottheimer are like touching each other. Stop. I want you guys to get a point. And two, the moderators lost control of this. They're talking over each other. Fulop's talking. Cheryl and Fulop are going at it. They're talking to each other. Ras Baraka and Gottheimer. The only guy that seemed mature in that group was Sweeney, because he is a mature guy in the group. He's got like 20 some odd years, 30 maybe he is on the rest of these guys. The moderators let things get out of hand. You want to hear what the people have to say. And when you have that many, 6 candidates, it's hard to, and you got 2 moderators, it's hard to fit all these people in 1 hour. So once you get into that 6 number, you're probably looking at an hour and a half debate. But the Democratic playbook hasn't changed. And it's a really good, that's like, you got the electric bills going up on June 1st. And Governor Murphy, who I had high hopes when he became the governor, and Mayor Fulop was talking about some of the things that he would do if he becomes governor here in New Jersey. And someone who was similar to Murphy about consolidation of municipalities, consolidation of school districts. Yes, we need to consolidate school districts. There's 565 of them. That's more than we have municipalities. And all those districts have expenses that you pay for. They have superintendents and boards and trustees and meetings and all that. Payrolls and pensions and holidays you got to pay for. When Murphy came in, he was going to consolidate municipalities and shared programs. I think 8 years of Murphy, I think we merged 2 municipalities. That's it. 8 years, 2. Now, if you look at Hudson County, you want to do some merging. You got some merging. You got like East Newark. I got a better chance of finding Atlantis than I do of East Newark. Guttenberg's a postage stamp. That could be absorbed in by North Bergen. And again, you look at these municipalities. We're paying for them. They're getting state aid, and you pay for the state aid. The more you can consolidate this, like Seaside Heights, Mayor Voss down there, they did shared services with the 911. The sheriff's office takes care of Seaside Heights 911. They probably could have done some more. Again, you're talking small communities here. Seaside Park, Seaside Heights, Ortley Beach, Lavalette. They all have councils. They all have police departments. They all have DPWs. They're all about 16 blocks long, and they all have expenses that, again, get paid for by the state, and percentage-wise of the state. All that should be looked at. There should be mergers. There should be consolidation. But that made sense with Fulop. But when you start listening to these guys and they're talking about these programs, I'm not against daycare. Universal daycare will take children from 3 years old. We're talking about bringing the price of schools down, and here we are talking about universal daycare from 3 years old and on. My kids went to daycare. I paid for them. All that sounds good, but it's a matter of who's going to pay for it. And that's where this state, and it came close with Citarelli. He almost beat Murphy, and I think Trump he lost Jersey by about 4 percentage points. If Trump is running well in November, he will be a factor in the governor's race. I think it's going to be a factor now. Now, anybody talking about the same old in New Jersey, where it's just more Murphy 2.0, that is not going to work. Where, if people are seeing the property tax bills, you got the electric bills coming up in June. I mentioned that before. Murphy signed a bunch of executive orders that absolutely affected maybe 2 people in the entire state. The rest of us doesn't make a difference. It sounded good, But when you started looking at what Murphy was talking about and try to offset, it ain't helping me and you. Maybe one or two people might get helped in the whole state. The rest of us, it just looks good on paper. Oh, I did something. I made an attempt. Yes, you did. You failed power in the energy program that caused this. Now, it's this morning. Again, I said Mayor Fulop was on NJ 101.5. They were talking about the energy. And kind of Fulop was kind of hemming a bit about on the solar and wind. Is there a place for solar and wind in our future? Not in our immediate one. Maybe not in our distant future. Yeah, you don't have a lot of sun that day? Yeah, I got a lot of energy. Yeah, I got solar lights everywhere. I can tell you, if we don't have sun, those lights ain't going on. And if the wind ain't blowing, you're not getting any energy. And Mayor Fulop was against the offshore wind farm down at LBI. That'll get him like every vote in LBI being against that. But the expense of that wind farm and the maintenance, it wasn't going to be cheap energy. And we want to keep talking about making the state affordable. That's not affordable. What we need to embrace is natural gas. It's burning very clean. We keep talking about technology from 40 years ago. Not the stuff we're using now. For that matter, the coal plants burn clean. It's today's technology. Nuclear. Now, Mayor Fulop said, the state's not going to build any nuclear plants. I don't think the state does. I think that would be PS&G and Jersey Light and Power, who are awful, Jersey Light and Power. And they're not building these monster 3 Mile Island or Oyster Point nuclear plants anymore. They're what they call like pocket nuclear plants that can run a few cities off of them. And it's very reliable. It is completely clean. We just got to figure out to do with nuclear waste when the rods are spent. You got that moon up there, and you got my buddy Elon. He's talking about going to Mars. Well, we can send some nuclear waste up to Mars for now. The Martians get pissed off. All right, we'll deal with it from there. But we got to figure out how to deal with the spent uranium. But it is the best way to generate energy. But when we were listening to the debates, and even Steve this morning, there were some things I'm like, Steve, don't do that. Don't say that. But again, he has 10 ideas. I probably agree with 8 of them. 2 I don't. But that's, I guess, with any walk of life. And if anybody's voting on one issue in New Jersey, the only one main issue we would have in New Jersey, I think, is property taxes. And that's a pretty good one issue. But, as I said many times, nobody gets the whole loaf in New Jersey. I usually say that for Jersey City, but it's the same thing statewide. If you're a one issue vote, it's going to be a tough you to make a decision on who you want to vote for. I need some real concrete. And Cheryl wasn't too good on, Mikey Cheryl wasn't too good on telling me how she was going to try to rein in the expenses and the school funding. We did a piece, I think it was a couple weeks ago, where it was $38,000 a year to educate a student in Jersey City, and I think it was $20,000 in Toms River, which I've been told it's like $18,000. But whatever it is, either in the $20,000. Why does it cost $18,000 more in Jersey City to educate a student than it does in Toms River? Toms River is like an hour away. And they got good schools, good students. Those students go to school, colleges, they get scholarships, they go to universities. Same thing up here. Why is it almost twice as much? That we have to understand. Why does it cost so much to educate a student in Jersey City, and in Egg Harbor is 50% the cost? And it's not to teach the salaries, from what I could tell. They're pretty much the same unless you got longevity or you got PhDs involved. There's a boost in that. It was not to teach the salaries. Which I said many times. I said, if I was going to go over the Jersey City Board of Education budget here, it's $1 million. I think it's billion with a B. Billion with a B. I think it's $1 billion, $2 million a year right now. That's not to teacher salaries. Teacher salaries is probably maybe 20% of that. So we got to figure out what the other 80% of that is. But there's no reason why it should cause such a vast difference. So there's where right at the bat, if I'm going to try to figure out how to make the schools affordable and impact your property taxes, why is it $18,000, $19,000 in Toms River and $38,000 in Jersey City? And you can't say, well, it's a cheaper way of life in Toms River. No, listen, it's not like the Burger King Whop is $3 down there. It's $6 something down there also. The days of it being so cheaper than South Jersey that's gone. That we have to look at. and you're paying for all that. That's what I want to hear from our candidates, the Sweeneys, the Sherrills, the Gottheimers. That's the first main issue is property taxes, 1 and 1A, and the school, because they're completely affected. The schools affect your property taxes. Somebody's got to tell me how we're going to address that, how we're going to address it now. There should not be such a huge difference 60 some odd miles away between, like I said, Jersey City and Tom's River. Something effing wrong here when it's almost twice as much in Jersey City as it is down there, and the teachers are making basically the same pay. And we're not talking about, well, they got to pay a lot of rent. They don't pay rent. Got to pay property taxes. They don't pay property taxes. Which you go to any business, rent and property taxes, it's right up there in the top 3 or 4 expenses. Not there. Yeah, insurances, all right, we're all paying insurances. We have to look at that. You have to go state insurance, go private insurance. There's got to be a way of cutting that down. But the first thing we got to figure out, where is the money going? And why we have such a huge gap in how much it costs to educate a child. There's something wrong. And I think if Trump is rolling well, and right now it's in my notes here, about Trump. Speaking of Trump, no, I'm jumping a topic here. Speaking of Trump, he is on a roll this last week. He's got China. They're talking about a 10% tariff. You know, China had, I think it was 12 or 14 ships off the port of Elizabeth there, just floating around out there. And as soon as they had some sort of a tariff agreement now, they came in. You got the UK. UK agreed to, I think it's 10% tariffs. Tariffs are rolling great. The only thing UK asks is that we keep Meghan Markle and her husband here. We don't send them back to the UK, stealing that joke from SNL. You know, Trump's getting American hostages released in Gaza. Yeah, the stock market is going wild. Everybody's making money. Remember when I told you about buying on the low there? If you had the money, should have done it. Yeah, you were making money. Jeanine Pirro is going to be the district attorney for D.C. Now, I remember Jean Pirro before she got on Fox. She was a prosecutor in New York somewhere, Westchester, something like that. And she was very successful. I know she had some with her husband. There was some issue there, some controversy. She's a very bright woman. Yeah, SNL, for that matter. Soon as I seen that Trump nominated Jeanine Pirro for D.C. attorney, Cicely Strong popped in my mind. So she's coming back. She's coming back to SNL because she portrayed Jeanine Pirro with the wine and Colin Jost spitting the wine on him all the time. Sure enough, Saturday night, there she is, bottle of wine in her hand. So she's going to be good for a while. If she's interim Jeanine Pirro, so that's probably good for about 6 months. So Cicely Strong will be back probably weekly on Weekend Update with her bottle of wine or that huge glass of wine. But yeah, you got Dr. Oz. I'm watching. By the way, does anybody notice like Trump is on TV more than Sheldon Cooper? I mean, and Sheldon's in syndicated. He's on every channel. Every time I turn on the TV, Trump. Now I was watching Trump. He's got camels running by him. He's in Qatar. He's in the Saudis. The Saudis are talking about dropping trillions of dollars in investments here in the United States. Qatar gave him a plane, $400 million plane, because for whatever reason, Boeing doesn't have Air Force One, the new one, done. The one they're using right now goes back to the Reagan years. And what does Trump do? The Saudis signed a deal with Boeing for like, I don't know, a few $1 trillion and 280 airplanes. Can't even get the Air Force One done. Do we have somebody besides Boeing right now? The same people where we had astronauts stranded on the space station because of the Boeing capsule. Yeah, let's get some more business for Boeing. But that's what he did. But it's jobs, it's money coming into the United States, and that's what you want from your president. This guy, he just signed an executive order that he's lowering prescription prices, something he tried before. This guy's on a roll. If this guy is on a roll like this, going into the June primaries, he's going to have an effect on the Democratic side and the Republican side. Republican side, Jack Ciattarelli, he's been in the studio here a couple of times. He's got like a 30-point lead on Bill Spadier, former talk show host on NJ 101.5. I don't know what Bill did. He was running high there, and Bill he's a distant second. Now, listen, that's why we have elections. You know, in the last governor's race here with Murphy and Citarelli, Murphy, they were polling him at 20-some-odd% lead over Citarelli, and he squeaked by there, 2, 3, 4 percentage points. He may have an effect on a primary. If Trump is rolling good in November, I don't care who we have from the Democratic side, whether it's Steve Fulop, Gottheimer, Mikey Sherrill, it is going to be a real uphill battle. As if Trump's got the economy going right and Wall Street's going good and money's flowing and investments going on and factories are opening here. I don't know where we'll get the people who work in the factories, but we'll open the factories. If you build it, they will come, I suppose. If he's rolling high like this, that's going to be a real problem. They can ride the Trump wave on November the 10th. And I don't know, all the campaigning in the world. If he pushes through the tax credits and the tax breaks he's talking about giving, the more money you give business to invest, the more things will happen. More business will invest in themselves or other businesses. That may be a real tough road for the Democratic candidates to hoe here. But let's break for commercial. You're listening to the City Show Radio. I'll be right back.
No one plans on heart disease, but everyone should have a plan for it. We help patients of all lifestyles and medical histories plan for healthy hearts. We offer convenient screenings without judgment, hundreds of preventive programs, and women's heart specialists. And we're the largest cardiac surgery program in New Jersey. Make plans for a healthy heart with RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
Well, we're back. I was having a drink of water here. We were talking about, I don't know, something about dogs. You're listening to the City Show Radio here. Pat O'Meara on GGR. 855-999-0799. Well, they're saying if Trump is rolling, the Dems got a problem in November. I don't know whether it's Sherrill, Gottheimer, Fulop, whoever it is. There's a problem for that matter. If I start seeing if I can book them, I'm certain I can get Sweeney and Steve Fulop. I do have Gottheimer's contact information. We'll try to get some of these guys in here. I want to press them very heavily on schools, school funding. There's something is wrong, and I can't get out of my head that it's $38,000 in Jersey City for a student per year, and it's like $20,000 in Tom's River, and some people are saying even less than that. How is it possible? But let's not beat that horse to death. Hey, by the way, the Jersey Transit. The trains are going on strike, it looks like tonight. So you want to go see Sakira in the Meadowlands? Yeah, you better drive. I know there's some private buses that have been going there. I didn't even know the train went to the Meadowlands. I think somebody was saying they did that when they did the World Cup over there. I didn't know I had to ride over there to see where the train goes. Where does it go? It doesn't go over Route 3. Does it go under Route 3 to the Meadowlands? But it'll probably happen. I think it's the first time in 40 years that we will have a New Jersey Transit train strike. The buses seem to be unaffected. But, you want to get on a New Jersey Transit bus? Yeah, it's like a ride to nowhere. New Jersey, will we even notice they're on strike? The friggin' trains are constantly delayed, stopped. Yeah, it is the worst run transportation system in the United States. It needs a complete overhaul. That's another thing. Again, when I get the candidates in here, or probably over the phone, that's another thing. You got to stop pouring money into New Jersey. That was another thing in the CBS roundtable, whatever that thing was. We're all sitting in the chairs. Let's throw more money at it. It needs more money. That's a bottomless pit of your money. We need results there. I think we should privatize it. That's one of the things we'll talk to the candidates about. Ads. You've been seeing the ads for our governor on the Democratic side? Citarelli isn't doing a lot of ads because he's up 30 points. So he's like, I think I'll save the money till November. I'll wait for the general election. Mikey Sherrill just did a second commercial. Did you know she flew helicopters? She must, because every commercial she has helicopters. Again, here's a helicopter in the new one. She's got a helicopter jacket on. She got the cartoonist helicopter. When I was in the Navy, we flew into the action. Where's my helicopter? Did I remind you I fly helicopters? They should be flying them around a camp. That would be a statement. She's making a campaign stop. Comes in, lands in a helicopter. People be bitching how loud it is when you're flying low. Yeah, Fulop, he should get his Marine jacket on, get his Marine sword, and swing it around. Yeah, I was a Marine. I didn't fly a helicopter, but I was in Iraq. I don't know if Cheryl was in Iraq. Maybe she wasn't. Yeah, Gottheimer, now he's got his baby pictures in this commercial. Like he's 4 years old. Then he's got him fighting. He's fighting Trump in that AI thing. And then everybody's fighting Trump. Trump is not your issue right now. Even Steve Fulop, he's got you don't send a lightweight, they hit on a heavyweight, and the two boxing gloves land on the rosin on, I guess, the floor of the ring. That's not, Fulop's problem is Cheryl. Cheryl's problem is Fulop. Gottheimer's problem is everything. Gottheimer should have like a Royal Rumble. Get AI to make a Royal Rumble of Fulop and Sweeney and Cheryl and throw them over the top rope. Yeah, Spiller and the Spiller guy, he didn't even make the CBS thing. Somebody said he didn't have enough money in his campaign. He didn't have the threshold they needed. Didn't the guy get like $35 million from the teachers union? How can you not have money? And most of these gang, I think Gottheimer and Fulop has spent almost $8 million apiece. Now, in Fulop's case, it looks like money well spent because he came from really behind the pack to number 2, and depending on, there's so many polls, it got to the point, even Fulop said he doesn't trust his own polls anymore. But he's in a statistical tie with Mikey Sherrill, and I keep saying, I don't know what happened to Gottheimer. He's a believable guy, comes across, honest, but it's like I said, it's like somebody grabbed him by the back of his collar, just pulled him to the back. And, Ras Baraka, he's wobbling around in there. He's like in 3rd place or 4th place. Steve Sweeney, I think time has passed him by there. As he's polling there down in that Spiller area. But somebody should look at the Spiller thing. How did you get all this money from the teachers union? Did everybody ask the teachers? Do you mind if we take $35 million of your dollars so I can make a failed run at running for governor? I don't think they agreed with that. And the Spiller thing is must stop Trump. Yeah, stop Trump for another year and 3/4. And he's not running for a 3rd term. That's all crazy. He says that just to get a rise out of people. And stopping Musk, what do we want to be wasting money? Is that what we want to do? Musk is identified, and the Muskites, or Muskrats, whatever you want to call it, that young group he has, they identified a ton of money, and they proved it to the Americans saying, we're wasting your money here. I want Doges. I want Doges in Jersey. I want Doges wherever we can get a Doja. You got the kids. How many kids does he have there? Well, I know Elon personally has enough kids for every state in the country, but in his working group there. Send one of those to every state and let's Doge it up. Because, if the feds are wasting it, all the states are wasting it. And also, Mayor Fulop got a big endorsement from the Philadelphia Inquirer. I think they endorsed, what did they endorse? Citarelli? No, Bramick. Bramick and Steve Fulop. That's the all-important Pennsylvania vote. But, joking aside, that is a big paper of record down in South Jersey, Philadelphia Inquirer. So that is a very big endorsement for Mayor Fulop and Bramick. Bramick doesn't have a prayer, but still he got an endorsement. Getting back, let's go to some normal stuff. We got a debate on May the 28th here for the 32nd District. I think right now, it's at 4 o'clock. We'll go live with that, and then we'll repeat it. You got 6 candidates in the 32nd District. Jessica Ramirez, Youssef, Robbie Bala, the mayor of Hoboken, Katie Brennan, Jenny Pooh, and Pablo Francesco's wife. Her name is first name. I know her husband. Her name is escaping me. We were going to do it at 6, but then somebody said somebody had an event. They wanted to change the date. Here's when you set it. Now, I haven't set the dates yet for the mayoral debates. We always do the televised one. For that matter, I got to talk to the cable networks. see if we can get airtime. And they'll probably say I have to get a Pterodac again. I have to rent a Pterodac off these people and plug it back into my video mixer, where we'll redo it. Right now, there's 5 candidates, but they don't get certified until August the 31st or 21st. So I'm not going to set up any debate until probably late September, October. But when we do it, we'll do our normal big deal. Yeah, it'll be on Comcast, it'll be on Twitter, it'll be on YouTube, it'll be on whatever things we got over there. So we got that on the 28th. DirecTV, now, speaking of cable, I have DirecTV. The reason I have DirecTV, it allows me to see smaller stations throughout the country. The stations, I'm not in the league with NBC or CBS when it comes to production values and equipment. I don't have that. But I am with Channel 33 on those networks. So I like to check in on them and see what the production values are, what the shows they're doing, not rerun shows that they're producing. And I look at what they're doing and say, I'm in league with that. And they actually have a budget. I have no budget, so I'm in their league. DirecTV jumps my bill by $40. And it's like nothing to them. What happened to my bill here? Oh, it went up $40. Yes, that's why I'm calling you. I noticed that. Did you notice it and think about telling me? Well, you had a credit that expired. You didn't notice that? No, I'm just paying the bill. So what can I help you with? The $40 increase. That's what you can help me with now. So listen, I'm going to tell you what the deal is. We don't get this settled. I'm just going to call Fios, and I'm going to call Comcast, and I'm going to find out what the dance. Well, I'll send this over to our escalation department. It's the dance. They should have a music. Like the kabuki dance start. You know they're going to do it, but they've got to rattle a chain and tell you the reason they're doing it. The escalation person gets on the phone with me. Can I help you? Say, yeah, you're going to escalate taking $40 off my bill. I actually would like $50 off my bill. Go back and forth. He goes, well, you may have to cancel. I said, that's fine. I'll call you back, and I'll tell you when we can cancel my service. By the end of the phone call, I got $45. I'm ahead $5 for the next 12 months. But it's in this day and age where you can go to streaming channels, and I have the streaming channels. I like to check in on them. Maybe I have too many of them. But now there's some interesting things going with Disney. But I need Disney because I'm a Marvel guy. You'd think they would be like, we lost the NFL package. We don't have huge expenses with DirecTV. We don't have to beat you up price-wise. I would do that. But no, to send you $40, maybe people don't argue about $40. I will fight you tooth and nail. Gary will tell you here, you raise the price on me, I'm taking you on. If I have to get, my accounting program, QuickBooks, they kind of double my price, and they wouldn't listen to me. I told the people at QuickBooks, say, listen, I'm going to track down the CEO of your company. And I was like, yeah, shit. Within an hour, I had tracked down the CEO of the company. I had the guy's Twitter and LinkedIn, and I'm sending him messages of what I'm going to do. Left my phone up, but within a half hour, I got their office calling me. Whoa, is there a problem? Yes, there is a problem. So we went through the whole problem. No problem no more. Not an issue. Everybody went back to the other price. I will fight you too. That's why, if you got an issue with the county or the city or a consumer issue, I am the guy you want. I've got like a really good track record of fighting the powers that be. You got screwed over on a car purchase. Home Depot, who I love fighting with. Home Depot is a great place if you can walk out with it. You want to buy a drill? Walk out. You want some bolts? Walk out with it. Don't buy the refrigerator there. Don't buy the washing machine there. Don't buy anything that you can't take out with you, because you are going to have a problem. Whether they're going to knock down your front door with the refrigerator, they're going to knock down the gate of your fence, the damn thing won't work, and then you got to fight. And then I have to deal with the manufacturer. No, I got to deal with you. It happens so many times. I take them on. You got a problem? Get in touch with me. Email jctalking2000 at Yahoo or 855-999-0799. I got a real good track record with that. We're at Thunderbolts. I went to the Thunderbolts movie. That's I'm a Marvel guy. And I don't need a Marvel movie to change my position in life. It doesn't have to awaken me. All it has to do is entertain me, preferably for about 90 minutes. 2 hours and 13 minutes, a little long. They don't make a big enough bucket of popcorn for 2 hours and 13 minutes, and it's too much soda to drink. 90 minutes, well, that's fine. But the Thunderbolts were like 2 hours plus. But it was a good movie. It was a different kind of ending. Yeah, you had to put some thought into it. But the characters are good. Yeah, Bucky's in there, the Winter Soldier, the Ghost is in there from Wasp, U.S. Agent, the fake Captain America, he's in there. And it's really a good, Yolanda, she's Natasha, the Black Widow sister's in there. Yelena. Good movie. You will enjoy it. Go see it. You should know the background of these people, but you could probably walk in and go cold with that. But I always go to Kerostopes Theater in Secaucus on Tuesday. My daughters and I, we're all Marvel. So we'll normally go to see the movie. It's like $7 on Tuesday when it was Kerostopes or Kerostopes Stars, whatever. It's Regal Cinemas now. We'd go that, and then we'd go over to Tokyo Hibachi and have dinner. Regal took over, and they did away with everything. I'm getting the tickets on Fandango, and I'm like, why is this like $60? Then I found there was no more discount. Everything is super expensive in there. Everything that was a bargain is gone. Yeah, grabbing all the money they can. And the place is like run down. Like it had the red reclining chairs. Like all the red is gone. It's like beige. The veneer is all gone. Yeah, the carpet's worn. Yeah, they're grabbing all the bucks they can out of there. Put some money back in. So one of the things I'm going to do now as I regain my health, every time I go see a doctor, they hit me with another thing. There's a problem here. I felt okay. Now I don't feel okay. But I'm working on it. I'm getting back. But I'm going to go after the Regal Cinemas now. And they got to clean up their act and the theater. It's a double cleaning I need done there. I need the theater cleaned up and their act. And it give us I think somebody was saying that if I join their club for $10 a month, I don't want to pay these people $10 a month. I don't go to movies every month. I'm not giving you $10 so you can debit my account. No, just give me a decent price and on the soda and the popcorn and the theater ticket. And I'll be happy with that. Let me break for commercial, and we'll come back. We'll do some studio stuff. We're running out of time. You're listening to the City Show Radio here on GGR. We'll be right back.
No one plans on heart disease, but everyone should have a plan for it. We help patients of all lifestyles and medical histories plan for healthy hearts. We offer convenient screenings without judgment, hundreds of preventive programs, and women's heart specialists. And we're the largest cardiac surgery program in New Jersey. Make plans for a healthy heart with RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together.
Consumer Carpets, 3408 Kennedy Boulevard in the Jersey City Heights, your one-stop store for residential and commercial floor treatments, carpeting, linoleum, tiles, laminates, hardwood floors, area rugs, remnants, all major brands, all in stock. Free estimates, same-day installation. Consumer Carpets, it's savings, selection, installation. Credit cards and debit cards accepted. Financing available. Consumer Carpets, price to fit your budget, installation to fit your schedule. On the net at consumercarpets.com. Consumer Carpets, Jersey City, 201-792-2712.
We're back. City Show Radio here on GGR. Pat O'Melia. Best hamburgers in New Jersey. The best hamburgers in New Jersey. I have the list. The White Manor in Jersey City is number 6. Now, they went over to Pat LaFrida Meat. They switched over. That must have worked because the White Manor in Jersey City never made these lists before. The White Manor in Hackensack was always like number 1 and number 2. The White Manor in Jersey City is number 6. Number 6. The Park Tavern. I don't know where that is in Jersey City. There used to be one on Secaucus Road long time ago when in my youth. They're number 11 in Jersey City. The Hackensack White Manor was number 3. Now, I've been out there. It is a good burger, but it's a slider. There's no White Castles on this either. Yeah, White Castle may want to look into that. But I was really amazed. Again, the White Manor in Jersey City went over to Pat LaFrida Meats, and that must have did the trick. The number 1 was the Blend in Sewell, but they rated like 50 hamburger places, and I've been to 2 of them at least. Yeah, 2. I went to the White Manor in Jersey City and the White Manor in Hackensack. Actually, we went out there twice in one in Hackensack just to see what's the difference. And it was kind of a difference. But again, the White Manor in Jersey City went to Pat LaFrida, and maybe that's the whole difference. The thing, they got him up to number 6. Major motion picture studios. I'm teaching. We just had the high school kids in here today. And it looks like I'll be working with some college kids now in the program. And one of the things we're trying to do is train these people that these kids, if they don't continue their education, we're doing the Best and Brightest show. We got 25 of the students. Few of mine in the classes here got full of scholarships. If they don't continue their education, they'll have enough training to potentially get a job at these major studios. Now, you got Cinelease here in Jersey City. It's already in operation down on Caven Point Road. You got Lionsgate in Newark. That's under construction. You got 1888 studios in Bayonne. And you got this huge Netflix complex down in Monmouth County by Fort Monmouth, in Fort Monmouth. Now it's been noticed and mentioned that Whoopi Goldberg is going to bring a studio into Newark, a full motion picture studio. That's a lot of studios, not counting the ones in New York, just the ones in Jersey here. Now, do we have enough going on to have all these studios in New Jersey? You know, it's like, you remember where we had all the dollar stores? We don't have a lot of dollar stores anymore. Something's got to give. Now, Netflix, they just reported, Murphy was there, they were putting the silver shovels in the ground, that Netflix received $300 million in tax breaks for the facility in Monmouth County. That's a lot of money. Now, it isn't like there's some magic money. That money has to get back into the budget somehow. How do you think that's going to happen? Yeah, they're saying, well, they'll escalate the amount of business around the studio. Yeah, I better hope so, because if that don't happen, it's you. Now, I'm in the business. I'm in production, television production, social media production, radio production. I ain't giving you $300 million. I would have appreciated that. But I just don't know if that's the best use of your money to prop up private businesses. But, when Chris Christie was here, he didn't think it was a good use of the money either, so he discontinued that. My question is, are all these places getting the $300 million? That's a lot of millions. That's a lot of theaters for motion picture studios. So, I don't know, maybe Trump will hit New Jersey with tariffs. You make a movie in New Jersey? Tariffs. Hit you with a tariff. Now we got the primary, the June 10th primary. Coming up, we're going to have some of the candidates in here on the 28th for the 32nd district. Try to get as much information you can on the candidates. Try to make an educated decision. I'm talking Hudson County here, so we're pretty much all going to be going Democrat. But I will epically try to get Gottheimer, Mayor Fulop, and Steve Sweeney. Maybe Cheryl, I'll make the phone calls. If I don't do them live, I can tape them. I don't have to bring them in the studio. I can talk to them over the phone. And again, if you're interested, I'm always interested in people who want to do radio. Again, you can email me at jctalking2000@yahoo.com. If you got any ideas, any show ideas, any guest ideas, you can email me again at jctalking2000@yahoo.com. I am at a show. You be good. You be safe. I'll talk to you next Tuesday. Good night.